Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us here on ECH Postgame Live, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Awesome place to go watch Kraken W's like tonight against Columbus. That was a fantastic win. What a way to go into the break, the All-Star break, the bye week. It's really both of them. But what a fantastic game from the Seattle Kraken tonight, taking care of business against kind of a wounded opponent, we'll say, but it's still good to see them get the win after yesterday and that performance. And then, of course, it's just good to see them back in first place in the division where they belong, where we all want to see them. It's all good right now. Sorry, I was just pulling back up the standings. I was trying to get to how many games in hand. So it's still 2 games in hand on Vegas there, 3 on the Kings. Vegas is falling apart. That's fantastic. And I know we're here to celebrate the Kraken win, talk about the Kraken game, but I think we can all take a moment to appreciate Vegas not playing really well right now. I think that's part of it for us. Yeah, it is nice to be back in first place alone, like not tied or anything. I think this might be the first time for that we're not there. I saw that from Joey there. Yeah, it's good stuff. And then talking about the game tonight, pretty dominant performance start to finish. I mean, yeah, you let Columbus get back into it a little bit there in the second period, but you know, this is what the Kraken, I feel like, kind of needed as a bounce back game after yesterday. I know, we talked about yesterday, the Flames aren't a great matchup for the Kraken. Columbus, it's a good matchup for about anybody these days, or at least so far this season. But I really think that this is going to be a big deal for the Kraken, because yeah, you get back into first place as you go to the bye and the All-Star break and all that good stuff. But it's a big deal to get a win while you're still missing all of those pieces that we talked about yesterday, including, let me see if I can get my Maddie for Calder shirt up into frame there. There we go. My headphones got all twisted up. There we go. As including missing Matty Beniers. We talked about what a big deal missing him was yesterday, as far as special teams go, as far as energy level, that kind of just overall kind of frenetic pace of play that the Kraken usually have, and it not being there last night against the Flames, but it was back in force against Columbus. You're talking about this game going about halfway through, Columbus had like 8 shots on goal. Like, that was I mean, the Kraken were just doing an amazing job of dominating possession, dominating shot quality. I mean, Rich dominating the game, period. And you know what? We talked about getting goalied yesterday by Vladar. Lincoln's tonight. I mean, he made some big time saves, like huge highlight reel, massive saves. Gonna be on Sports Center tonight. Massive plays from him, because otherwise this game could have gotten really ugly in favor of the Seattle Kraken. And it's good to be back in that, like to have that headspace again of like, wow, the Kraken are just like kicking butt. They're taking names, and to be able to do it while missing Schwartz, Schultz, Maddie, like I do think that means something, and that is important for this club. Lines, minutes, much more usual in this one. Everything kind of everybody about the same, more traditional to what we're used to seeing. Daniel Sprong has been playing less and less, though. He actually had the fewest time on ice tonight of all the Kraken. Hayden had more. And so that's something to kind of pay attention to, because he didn't have a ton of shifts last game either. So I don't know if that's maybe he's dealing with something, or if he's just falling out of favor. I don't know what's going on there. We know he's been a little quiet as far as the score sheet goes, but that is something that as I'm kind of like looking at the numbers and everything, post game analysis, right? That's something that's really jumping off the page at me, is the 840 from Sprong. I don't think I missed an injury from him. But the bottom line is, this was a fantastic win. Philip Grubauer, the last thing I'll talk about before I hop over to the comment section and talk with all you. Philip Grubauer, fantastic play tonight. I mean, 24, 25 saves, 960 save percentage, continuing really his hot streak. I mean, every time they have needed him, he's come in and he's stepped up, and he's done enough to put the Kraken in positions where they could win games. They haven't been, and that's been a problem, and we've talked about that. But the bottom line is, Philip Grubauer, when he is in net, the Kraken are in position to win games. They're going to stay in games, and it was really, really nice to see him kind of finally get some goal support and get that W, because he's been playing lights out. and he's been playing lights out without getting in games regularly, which is really impressive because you get cold sitting on the bench, right? Like I'm amazed he did so well tonight, considering how few shots he got through the first half of the game. I mean, that's talk about getting cold, not seeing action, not being able to get into a rhythm as a goaltender. You're just not you're getting 8 shots halfway through the game. That is not a lot for you to work with, and to try to develop that rhythm and that pace. But it just speaks to how dialed in Philip Grubauer is right now and how fantastic he's been playing. And so I definitely wanted to take a moment out just to talk about that and highlight him, because that was a fantastic game. And it creates a perfect segue because Joshua's kicking off the chats here with the big Gru. And it was a well-deserved Gru tonight from Philip Grubauer. Definitely, Joshua. Coop, yeehaw, let's go. Gru, enjoy that W. I know, right? It is so fantastic that we're able to get him that W. The team was able to get him that W because he has more than earned it this last little bit. Lindsay, what am I going to do with myself without Kraken hockey, baby, for the next week? It's gonna be rough. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be rough. I think we're all gonna find ways of having to settle down. I mean, look, we'll have deep dive on Monday, so there's gonna be that, and then we're gonna try and figure out and see if we can fill up that space a little bit. I have some ideas there. We'll see what we can make happen. Cameron, great way to start the break with a win, first place in the division. Now we get some rest. Absolutely, Cameron, and well-deserved rest, given the way the Kraken have been playing so far this year and really through the end of December. It's just been kind of like this mad dash for this team. They had that brief break, the 3 days earlier this week. That was good, although really one of those days was the skills competition, the skills showcase, to use the correct terminology. But it's a well-earned break for the Seattle Kraken. I hope they enjoy it. Hopefully, maybe get healthy, all that kind of stuff. Even the guys who aren't out of the lineup, it's just good to not get beat up for a couple nights in a row. You know what I mean? Like it's got to feel nice. I got to imagine. Hunter, Gru needs to play more with the wink there. I agree though. I think right now Gru is kind of the hotter goaltender. I know he's not getting the W's that Martin Jones gets, but as far as like the numbers would say that yes, for the last like month and a half, Grubauer is the guy that they should be playing. I know Jones has some donuts in there, but still, I think Gru's playing really well. Tammy, look at when he's shooting and everything. Congrats on the 600 to Wenberg. Absolutely. And that's got to feel good, not only to score on the milestone, but also to score against your former team like that. It's got to feel really good for Wenberg. And 600 games is impressive. It is very impressive. Coop, first place, baby. I know. Again, first place, all alone in first place too. Get to just enjoy that for the next week. Maybe that's what we do with to fill our Kraken fixes. We all just come together. We'll just do a live stream where we can all just get together for 5 minutes and celebrate the Kraken being in first place. That would be fun. Ty, domination into oh yikes, be careful. Played a solid 40-ish minutes there. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. I mean, it is the NHL. There's very few games in which you're going to be able to go, from start to finish the full 60, just in charge and in control. I think that's again where the Kraken coming right up onto a break. Understanding that they're coming up onto a break, they're banged up. They've played a lot of hockey in the last month. We'll say. I think that's where it catches up to you a little bit, is you get in that mindset of like, hey, we've got this lead here, and it's like, okay, well, maybe we don't have to push so much, right? But the bottom line is, no matter who you're playing, even when you're playing a team that at the bottom of the standings like Columbus, you just can't do that in the NHL. The benefit to playing a team at the bottom of the standings like Columbus is that it doesn't kill you, right? You let your foot off the gas, they pick up a goal, then you can come back, the way the Kraken did like in the third period. Okay, we've got their foot back on the gas. We're going to take control of this game again, right? By playing a team that's struggling, you have that opportunity to kind of get back into things in a way that, against like Calgary, you're not going to have that opportunity. They're not going to give it to you. So that was the benefit of tonight and the opponent there. Nathan with the Gru, Gregory with the lemon lime Gatorade time. I know I went out, I bought a case of lemon lime Gatorade, Gregory, and it is still sitting in my car. I haven't unloaded it. I took all the other groceries in and I didn't unload that. And so I don't have it here with me. I apologize. I promise I will have have you next time. I promise. Alex, boys took care of business. Nothing else to say. For sure. I mean, I have to say that there's more to say because I've got 50 more minutes of post game here, Alex. So I'm not going to entirely agree with you, but they definitely took care of business tonight, and it was good to get back into that. I like this Kraken team, the way they can bounce back, even 24 hours later, bounce back from a game like that Calgary one with a solid performance. It is very good. Kraken Hawk, what a great way to start the All-Star break. If Maddie can't go, does this mean another Kraken player will represent us? Yes, another Kraken player will go in his stead. We talked about this a little bit last post game. We're not entirely sure of like how the decision gets made, but the NHL wants at least one representative of every team there. That's very much how they set up and their selection process for the All-Star game goes. So, don't know if like the NHL is going to choose, if it's going to be, a choice made in conjunction with the team. That's kind of what we were thinking. So we'll see who ends up going. McCann is kind of the favorite. Me and RJ kind of decided to go, most likely to go, as we were thinking about it. There's that comment from Joey, first place alone. I can't stand Vegas, with another one a little further down. Absolutely. That is totally what's going on. I'm so happy. I can't stand Vegas either. I'm happy to see them kind of struggling right now. Gregory with the back in first place where we belong. Absolutely. Pablo, great job. Groovy, for sure. SJ, regarding Vegas, RIP Mark Stone's back, collapsed under the weight of carrying that team. SJ, I think you're right. That is exactly what happened, because since he's been out, and it's really unfortunate. I do feel bad for Mark Stone having more back issues. It's horrible. Like I have family members with back issues. It's awful. It is just one of those things. It never goes away. Once it's wrong, it's never right again. All that stuff. But I mean, Eichel, this was your time to step up and carry that team and prove you were that guy. Team's not winning. Maybe he's not that guy. So that is, another thing I'm kind of keeping my eye on with that. Andy Wenberg playing more aggressive than normal. I can dig it. Right? I can totally get on board with this version of Wenberg. And again, the thing that I'm loving the most. Let's go 3 games in a row, everybody. Thing I'm loving the most. Let's imagine this 9 is Wenberg. Is that where's he scoring all these goals, whether they count or they end up getting taken away? He's like right there. He's playing net front, right? I mean, I've been talking about it all this year. What's the one thing the Kraken need to be doing more of? It's playing net front and kind of getting in there and being able to catch, create that panic in front, force the defense to have to play lower, all the benefits that come from playing net front. Wenberg is doing that. Maddie was doing it. Maddie's not in the lineup. Wenberg is kind of picking up that torch and carrying that load for the team right now. And we've seen it now, both last night and tonight, the difference that can make, and the chances and opportunities and the offense that can come from it and from him when he's in that spot. And so I really like what we're seeing there. Hey, say hi. Say hi. You were peeking there. There she is. Good job, Afra. I'll get you something in a second. Let me get through some more comments. Alex, please send Yanni if Maddie can't go. I can only guess why you, Alex, a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, would want that to happen. I mean, I'd be fine with it. Yanni's a fantastic personality. He'd represent the Kraken very, very well. Nathan, shout out to Elvis, though. Dude played insane. Deserves 3rd star, in my opinion. But as did Grew. No, Lincoln's played fantastic. He made some unbelievable saves. Like I said earlier, like Sports Center worthy top 10 highlights of the night, across the sports world level saves. That one, I'm trying to remember, was it was the Yanni one, when Yanni kind of had that one-timer chance, and he came over and he saved it with kind of that inside of the glove right there on the wrist part. That was fantastic. It was unbelievable. Incredible save. He had himself a night, definitely props to him. Super chat here from JMG. Thank you very much. Don't want to sound greedy, but what's it going to take to score on an empty net? I don't know. I did like that, I believe it was Yanni again there with the empty net opportunity late. And he hit the post, and if for those unfamiliar, like if you're playing stick time hockey or a practice and you don't have a goaltender, you don't have two goaltenders, one of the ways of playing is posts. So instead of just shooting and scoring in the empty net, goals in that scenario count by hitting the post. And so I made a comment out loud to Afra, to Dogskoy about, does Yanni know we're not playing when the goalie leaves, it's not posts? Because he hit that thing square and solid on that empty net attempt. I'm with you, JMG. It's nice, and yes, it's a little like kind of greedy to be like, hey, why can't we get those? But it's anytime you're playing with the opposing net empty, it means you've done something well the previous 58 minutes of the game. So I'll still take it at the end of the day. But I do feel you. Maybe it stems from their problems clearing the zone on like the PK and in rough defensive situations. They just need somebody who can just send it. You know what I mean? Just don't be afraid of the icing. Just send it. Take your shot from your own zone. You know what I mean? Maybe they need a Jesper Wallstad to come in and try to do it as a goaltender. Just start sending them at empty nets, trying to get goals. Maybe that's the solution. Absurdly saying, so glad that Groove finally got the Martin Jones version of the team in front of him. That's one of like, if tell me how to you ask me to summarize this game, that's one of the ways I would summarize this game. Absurdly saying is exactly that way. Edward Grubauer with the win, Tolvanen with a goal, Kraken going into the break feeling groovy. Oh, I like that. I really like that, Edward. That is good. We're gonna have to do something with that later on. Next time Gru's out there, we're definitely gonna have to steal that. Michael, and we have a game in hand on Vegas heading into the break. 2 games, in fact. Great game from Gru. He's getting hot at the right time for sure. And this is the whole idea with having 2 goaltenders that you can rely on. Is as one is hot, you play them, and then as they start to cool off, you start rotating in the other guy, and then hopefully, in theory, in practice, if everything goes according to plan, he starts to get hot, and so you start riding with him. And I do think that that's maybe what's going on here is, you look at just the last month, Martin Jones' stats trending in the wrong direction, even though he's picked up a lot of wins during that time. Grubauer's stats trending in the right direction. So I do think that, it's one of those things we could see them kind of come out of this week-long break with Grubauer more in that kind of 1A position, at least initially. I don't know. It's entirely possible that, Hackstall just looks at the win column and he's just going to ride with that the rest of the year. You can't argue with it. Obviously, Martin Jones has picked up a lot of wins so far, but it does feel like Grubauer is kind of proven that he deserves that chance to kind of be the guy who's going to play, multiple times a week instead of maybe once a week, the way he's been going right now. I would like to see it anyway. Great way to end a brutal stretch in our schedule. Got to get some rest, fellas. You've earned it. From Nathan. Absolutely. Pablo, can the Kraken win the division? Yeah, they can. They're right now in the driver's seat. As far as winning the division, they control their own destiny. And that is number one place you want to be, in that spot. And so, yeah, it is possible. Chris with the let's go. Absolutely. Sean with the groovy win. Solid performance all around. Need those home wins. Oh, definitely need the home wins. Gosh. So it's 13, 10, and 3. So now it's like kind of at that 500 level as far as fans leaving after a win versus a loss. Oh, it's just one of those things. Tammy, got to say again, what a waiver pickup with Tolvanen. Can't believe so many teams passed on him. I know. Mind blowing, right? Absolutely mind blowing. Chris, what's up with Andre? Seems a little loose with the puck. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last post game too. Burakovsky, he's just not feeling it right now. I think the Matty injury also isn't helping with that. At the same time, like that's kind of rough timing for it. He's getting shots. I'd like to see him either kind of scoring again and playing with that kind of confident shoot first mentality he had towards the beginning of the year, or decide that, hey, I'm just going to be more of like a playmaker and I'm going to take on that role and I'm going to start helping out the team in that way. And maybe, maybe just try to focus on one of those 2 areas and see if you can get that aspect of your game going again, build some confidence, right? Get that comfortable feeling going. And then you can, hopefully round out the rest of it all later. I think maybe that needs to happen. I think again, the break is coming at the right time for a lot of these guys. It's a chance to not just physically reset and rest up and heal up from the, all the stuff that you've been picking up, the little, nicks and cracks and all that stuff. But it's also a time to mentally reset and refresh and recharge, to be able to do what they've been doing. I mean, they've played 49 games now. So it's a lot of hockey to be playing in a short amount of time, considering what it is to be playing 3-4 games a week for as long as they have been. Adding in the travel, all that stuff on top of it, it's a lot mentally to have to go through. And so I think that having this week off will help some guys that might be in a funk just kind of mentally refresh, reset, and then they can come out a little fresher, a little lighter, and in a place where maybe you have that extra little bit of mental energy to try something a little bit more creative. And hey, it works, and now you're feeling like you're confident again, and you feel like things are going. It's possible that's what's going on, Chris. A little bit there. Leanne, wonderful to see Groovy and Alex have such a fantastic night. Definitely. I agreed there. We haven't even talked about Morgan Geeky tonight. Jeez, Morgan Geeky had a fantastic game too. Just tacking him on there, Leanne. Sorry. Kyle, Sprong has looked a step slow to me the last few games. Might be a knock he's playing through. Agreed. I think that's entirely possible. I just said it, right? You've played 49 games now. Everybody's kind of picked up something. It's near impossible not to in this sport, and so it is very possible. We'll ask RJ when he hops on in a little bit here. Daniel, don't know what I'm going to do with no Kraken hockey for like 10 days. I know it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. We're gonna enjoy the All-Star game and the skills competition, especially. That's what we're all gonna do. Chris, nice first. Then looked like a team needing a break, but good to put Columbus down where they belong. Yeah, like I said, I think it was just one of those, you get out to a lead and you're just like, okay, and you think you can cruise for the rest of the game. The bottom line is you just can't, regardless of who it is. Got another super chat here, gonna come on down. Seth, thank you very much for the super chat. Without Maddie, there does seem to be a defensive hole. Happy for the win, but there was a long period where the Blue Jackets controlled too much of the flow for comfort. I agree with you. And this was similar situation last game too against Calgary. Maddie defensively he's a big part of what the Kraken do defensively, as far as the defense being able to roam a little bit more, be able to challenge, be able to chase a puck carrier behind their own net. Because if you just watch Maddie in the defensive zone, when he's there, or we've got this week coming up with no games, go back and rewatch a replay of a previous game. Maddie plays very much like a defenseman. Like, he takes defense so seriously, and he has forever. You can go check my scouting report on him before the Kraken even drafted him a couple years ago. But he plays super low in the defensive zone. He helps out net front. If a defenseman's got to go do something else, he is always right there. He understands the passing lanes net front really well and where he can go just to take it away. It's not even like an entirely kind of conscious thing for him. And that's something I talked about in my scouting report on him way back when he was at Michigan. It was clear that this is just instinctual for him. Like, he's not even thinking about it. He just naturally puts himself in places where he just takes away dangerous opportunities from the other team. Just knowing exactly how far out of the net to play, to take away a kind of a cross seam or a pass into the slot. Like, it's all natural from him, and it's really remarkable. But I do think the Kraken are definitely missing him. It's really hard to fill that void. Like, it's basically impossible. Guys like Wenberg, really good defensive center. Jared McCann can slide over and defend well in the slot as well if you need him to. The Kraken have other guys. Obviously, Yanni Gord is very good at it. But for Maddie to be able to do just what he does instinctually, and play that 200-foot game with the energy and passion that he does, it is definitely something they're missing right now, Seth. That is for sure. All right, it's gonna jump back up here. I'm just kind of picking a spot because Up to 94 people. So a lot of these, a lot of chats in here. Four Horsemen. There's a name I haven't seen in a little while. Glad to have you in here, Four Horsemen. Those Gru glove saves, absolutely. Gru was on fire in this one, and again, for him to stay kind of present and in it without seeing a lot of shots in that first half of that game, that was a big deal. Joey pointing out that's our first win against the Blue Jackets. That's right. We're down to only 2 teams now. Tampa and Philadelphia. Those are the only 2 teams left in which we have not picked up a win in franchise history. And how about that with Columbus? Coming into this game, we were 0-2. Last season, all we did was lose in overtime to the Blue Jackets. That's all we could do. This year, we're picking up W's. Very happy about that. Lindsay, I was so happily surprised with Wenberg this game and also last game. He actually shot the puck and scored without passing it into the net. Who is this man? Like I said, I think he's kind of stepping up to fill that void with Matty being gone, especially playing net front the way that he has. He's trying to, fill that same void defensively that I just talked about. Matty leaves big skates to fill. There's no way around that. But Wenberg is doing a really, really good job of trying to kind of make the most of this opportunity he's in. And we saw it tonight where he got, a decent amount of PK time as well, playing 1:15 on the PK, as well as 2:54 on the power play, tying the team lead there on the power play. So, definitely hats off to Wenberg. Congrats on the huge milestone. 600 games is no joke in this league at all. But he's playing really, really well right now. Daniel, the Wave has no place in an indoor arena. All right. Did not know I was going to be jumping to this. Mark Cuban has said he would fire anyone that worked for the Mavs that started the Wave. Interesting take, Daniel. I have never heard that before. It is true. I tend to associate it with like baseball, something outside at a ballpark. That being said, if it's like a ballpark type thing, what about covered ballparks? Is it okay then? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. If people are having fun with it, I want people to go to sporting events and have fun, especially if kids are there, because then that it adds to the entertainment for them. They're maybe not always as drawn to the game, particularly the younger ones. So anything that can kind of get them involved in everything, or anything that can get a new fan who's there for the first time, or somebody who's dragged from a coworker or a partner or whoever it is, right, drags you to your first hockey game. Anything you can kind of do to kind of get into the spirit of it and get a little more invested in the overall experience, it does help build more fans. So in that sense, I'm going to disagree with you, Daniel, but I will say that it is kind of weird inside because it's not like a long track. It's like when NASCAR goes and races at the Coliseum down here in LA. It's like, it's only like 6 cars in there. Like, it just doesn't work. And so I do think that there's some logistical problems to like an indoor arena type setup versus like a ballpark or a football stadium. I will give you that. Let's see. Hey, Donnie Darko, how's it going? Sean, glad to see us win another where the opposing goalie played a good game, just forced them to eat 3 goals no matter what. Absolutely. I mean, I can pull up Money Puck here. I wonder what the expected goals number is on this one, because I could see it being fairly high for the Kraken. Just because, I mean, they were getting some outstanding chances and Merzlikins was having to make some incredible saves. Only 3.67. So again, I just don't understand expected goals, or at least how Money Puck does it. And I feel like that's like a little bit what's going on there. Let's see. It just occurred to me that if the Kraken play their cards right, they could draw the Avs in the first round from SJ. I literally had that same thought earlier today, SJ, and we're gonna choose to ignore that okay. That's the plan, is we're gonna ignore that idea. 4 Horsemen will watch the rest on recording. Have a good night, everyone. Release the Kraken. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by, 4 Horsemen. Let's see. Gary, goalie versus goalie tonight. Fun to watch. Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the best like types of hockey, is when it's kind of like a good goalie versus goalie matchup and you get that kind of back and forth game. And it kind of heightens the tension, because if neither goalie's really letting anything in, then the few times that there is going to be a goal, it kind of means that much more, and it's going to be that much bigger of a moment because there might not be another one the rest of that game. And so I always love a good goalie matchup because it's just got that energy to it. Jake, what's your take on how Fleury has been playing? He's looked pleasantly solid to me. Yeah, we talked about him a little little bit one of the previous post games earlier this week, but he's playing fantastic. I don't even recognize him. Like the whole Borgen treatment of kind of sitting, waiting, working with the veteran blue liners, probably Adam Larson getting in there a little bit, just saying. But also the coaching staff, all of that stuff. Cale Fleury has looked like a completely different player to what we saw last season, when I was worried about him, seeing the back of his jersey and all of those issues that I was bringing up. None of that's been there. He's been playing absolutely fantastic. They've been limiting his ice time and kind of deploying him very situationally, but I think he's kind of earned the right to just be like a straight up third pairing guy while Justin Schultz is out. I think he's earned it. I think he could be getting regular playing time. It could be up there at the 14-15 minute mark with Carson Soucy on a night like tonight. I think he's totally earned it. Jules with the super chat. How's it going, Jules? Hope everything's good tonight. Working at crypto. Gotta say, it's funny to see people do the wave. People have only done the wave for LA Kings and concerts, never seen it for the NBA. Interesting. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for letting us know that, because that is definitely an interesting thing to think about. Edward kind of chiming in, doing the wave at a concert. LA folks are weird. We are. I will tell you that right now. We are, Edward. That is kind of funny, doing a wave at a concert. I mean, everybody's kind of always doing the wave, right? Everybody's up dancing, jumping. Like, you should be doing something like that, maybe. I guess if it being coordinated. Let's see, Sean. The wave started at the old Seattle Kingdom, which was covered but cavernous. Yeah, see, it can happen inside. Sergeant Pickles with the super chat here with the studs, Kraken W, and meeting the lovely Medeiros in person. Incredible, right? I still have to do that. That is like the last thing left on my whole like Kraken fan bucket list, is being able to give Maya a hug and watch a game with her, because it has to happen. Duds made Columbus look decent, had a great time at the game. We back in first. Absolutely, definitely back in the first. Glad you had a fantastic time at the game tonight, Sergeant Pickles. Really, really happy about that. And yeah, Columbus, they had their moments tonight. They did. Got they're still an NHL team. They still got Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau out there flying around. How about the two of them kind of stopping another empty net chance later in that game? That was like $21 million combined in cap space, making that save for them, those two wingers. Just taking shots if I can. Let's see. Coop, I will admit that Laine shot was a BB. Dude is sick. Like, I'm a big Patrick Laine fan. I think Columbus has kind of broken him. I think he needs a reset after Columbus was supposed to be his reset. Torts kind of ruined that whole reset thing. I think he needs to go somewhere else, but it's good. Pablo, when is Matty Beniers coming back? Don't know. I doubt that they've given any update. We just knew he was going to be out these two games, and then he was going to be questionable for the All-Star game. We'll find out closer to the All-Star game as far as if he makes the trip out to Sunrise, Florida, if he's going to be participating there. But until then, we just don't know. Sean, first place at the All-Star break is amazing. Team is solid. Hopefully Matty is healthy in time for the next game after the break, for sure. And on both of those kind of comments talking about Matty, let's go ahead and bring RJ in here. Get the graphic going. There we go. How's it going, RJ? I'm assuming at morning skate and stuff today, no updates on Matty.
Yeah, no updates on Matty, and still no official updates on Matty. But I do have one bit of maybe tangentially related kind of good news comment here from Dave Hackstall. And he was asked, is this All-Star break coming at a good time? And he said, well, yeah, it is, with a few of our guys nicked up. But he did say, we don't think that anything there is too long-term or something like that. We don't think we have anything too long-term as far as the injuries. Okay. So that's a good sign, not just for Matty Beniers, but for Justin Schultz and for Jaden Schwartz as well. I mean, that's reassuring to hear from him.
Yeah, it's definitely reassuring. All right, with that out of the way, RJ.
Yes.
Tonight, it was awesome.
It was. I mean, the Kraken, I mentioned this after the first period, they were just kind of toying with the Blue Jackets D. Elvis Merzlikins had a hell of a game. I've got to give some credit to him. I felt kind of bad for him, too. I mean, especially after that second Kraken goal. Yeah, okay. So you've been over it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the Kraken could have had a lot more goals than they did. But, for the most part, they kept their foot on the gas. They laid back, sat back a little bit kind of toward the end of the second, and they paid for it with that Kent Johnson goal. But I think they took the lesson, and Dave Haxtell mentioned, as much time as we spent in our own zone in the third, we didn't really give up that much. And I do agree with his assessment there. They made everything manageable for Grubauer. But just a great, strong effort. This is what good teams are supposed to do to bad teams. And if you look at the expected goals, you look at the shot chart, I mean, it was domination for long stretches, this one.
Yeah, and to be able to do it coming off of a game in which everybody admitted we just didn't play well only 24 hours prior, like that's also impressive. And I don't want that to kind of get lost in the narrative either. Is like, yes, fantastic opponent to have a bounce back performance, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no denying that. But the bottom line is you still had to show up after what happened yesterday. And the Kraken did. Light Grew is now at an 899 save percentage. He is so close to getting to 900. RJ, that's been part of the talk too. I mean, another really solid performance from Grubauer. Finally gets a W. Can only assume it's because Medeiros is in the building, but
it's got to be
right. It has to be that. But it's one of those where I feel like, do you think that Haxtell and coaching staff is going to kind of take a look at that situation and maybe we'll see him starting more games coming out of the break?
I think it's certainly possible. I still think they view Martin Jones as kind of the clear starter, and you see that from this back-to-back where they gave him Jones the harder game and the more meaningful game. So I do think they still view Jones as the starter, but you want to get these goalies into a rhythm, and you can't play Martin Jones as much as you have been. The burnout is going to be a problem over the course of the season. You've got this little break here, so maybe you can lean a little bit toward your starter. But I think Grubauer is going to get into more games, and he's been playing well. And Haxtell was asked, do you feel like you kind of have confidence in both your guys now? And he said, look, we've quietly felt that way all season. I know his decision to start Jones as much as he has over Grubauer hasn't, maybe indicated that. Yeah. But, at least he's saying he has confidence in Philip Grubauer. I do think we'll start to see more starts going forward. Especially, I'm just so happy that everything finally came together for him here in this building just once. His last win at Climate Pledge Arena here was 41 days ago. Yeah. So just to see that come together for him, I got to feel happy for him.
Absolutely. It's definitely been a while. Donnie, talk about a double positive. We got the win and helped keep Connor Bedard out of the Pacific Division.
Exactly.
Sarah with the reminder to like the stream. Thank you very much, Sarah. Talking about kind of just because we should, RJ, talking about kind of when they let Columbus get back into this game. I mean, they were doing a fantastic job. Columbus only 8 shots on goal, like halfway through the second period. It was a really dominant performance. It did feel like there was a little bit of that, like right before a break, team is just like, all right, we're doing okay tonight. We can ease up a little bit here. And this was our reminder. Every team in the NHL is good, no matter what the standings say.
Yeah, the killer instinct wasn't really there to just kind of put them away once and for all. And the Jackets, like any NHL team, are going to find some hole, some gap to exploit. And if you let Kent Johnson just walk into that spot, he's got a great shot, and he's going to beat the goalie, more often than not when he has a look like that. And thankfully, it was close enough to the intermission. The Kraken kind of got the message, I think, and tightened up a little bit. But yeah, it was definitely something that if they were continuing to play games and they had the schedule coming up, you'd want them to be a little more focused on. But given this break, no one's going to really remember this when they come back.
Yeah, Lindsay picturing Grew in a Saturday Night Fever white jumpsuit, caption, feeling groovy. That would be fantastic. Got to make that picture happen if we could. Glad we won so we don't have to hear all the talking heads over the All-Star break saying, well, they've lost 2 straight, think they're going to start slipping.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, you're right. We definitely dodged a bullet there. Medeiros just popping in. The German gentleman won for me in front of me.
Amazing. So happy that you were here for this game.
Yes, for sure. Let's see, Dylan, I feel like you need to get Grubauer at least 30 starts. We're looking good for the playoffs, and I don't know if you can play Jones over 50 games and not have him burnt for the playoffs. So yeah, kind of similar to what you were just talking about there. I think we're both in agreement. Morgan Geekie broke a 30-game goalless streak tonight. Is that real? I knew it's been a while. He's been sitting at 4, but dang.
It has been that long. It's been about 3 months. It was since the start of November. And this is something. Have you talked about Morgan Geekie yet?
Just briefly, just to say like he had a good game.
Okay, because I want to. I thought Morgan Geekie did more than anybody to bring that stability to the lineup tonight with Matty Beniers out. Morgan Geekie, I don't know if you caught this on the ice time, but he led all Kraken forwards at even strength ice time tonight.
Yeah, no,
that's pretty impressive. It shows the trust from Dave Haxtell. And he was talking. We got to talk to him after the game, and he was talking about how, given his past line mates, he's like, look, goal scoring, it's not really my game, but try and contribute when I can. And I asked him, hey, I know you said goal scoring is not really your game, but when you're given this extra opportunity like this, does your mindset change a little bit? Do you feel like you could be a little bit more of a shooter? And he said, yeah, definitely. He said, with Matty Beniers out, with Matty out, somebody's got to step up, and I know I can be that guy for sure. Like he was confident that when given that opportunity, he can step into that role. And I think you saw it in his play tonight too, not just with the goal. He hit the inside of the post in the third period as well. He was utilizing that shot a little bit more. And I think just being given those minutes, given that different role, can kind of unlock that side of him a little bit.
Right. And I love the confidence of that statement too, right? The belief in yourself and understanding the overall situation. Because we have talked tonight before you joined us, RJ, about Matty not being there and kind of the whole, both offensively and defensively, that he leaves, how Wenberg has kind of been also stepping up to kind of fill that gap and certainly being a little bit more offensive and shot driven these last couple games here. But yeah, to hear Morgan Geekie talk like that, like with the whole, like, look, I know I can do this. Like, this isn't a question of if I can do this. This is a, someone who is recognizing that, like, this is my shot to prove it. And I'm going to go out there and prove it. And he did tonight. He played fantastic. So absolutely love hearing that from someone like Morgan Geekie for sure. Ty, the news about Donskoy really sucks. Stuff is life-changing, and they have to do something about this. You only get one noggin. Definitely, Ty. I don't know that we'll spend a ton of time talking about it tonight, but definitely going to be a big part of the deep dive coming out on Monday, talking about that situation and everything. Let's see. Question from Sean here. When do coaches announce their starting lineups? And what is the most reliable source of that info for the Kraken? Fantasy hockey players ought to know.
Very good question here. So it can kind of vary from game to game. How it usually works is on a normal game day, you'll have morning skate. And in that morning skate, you'll have what are called line rushes where, they'll have just basically dump the puck in and move it along. And it'll have all the lines and D pairs together. And usually what you see there is what you're going to get in the game or pretty close to it. Sometimes you'll have players that are maybe injured or a game time decision that don't take part in the line rushes. And, then you're not sure. Then what will happen after morning skate usually is we'll get to talk to the coach, members of the media like myself, and we'll ask, okay, is this game time decision guy? Is he in? Is he not? Which goalie is starting? It's on the coach as much or as little information as he wants to give us, unfortunately. But we always ask. We always try and find out, but there are different levels that we know or don't know. And then usually when you kind of know for sure is warm-ups right before the game where you'll have the line rushes and warm-ups, and those are pretty much always indicative of what you're going to see as far as the lines to start the game. So that's the answer there. As far as for the Kraken, I mean, I may be a little biased, but I think on Twitter, I think we're Emerald City Hockey, Emerald City HKY, we are probably the most up-to-date and kind of thorough view of that you're going to see for the Kraken. I'm there every single day. I'm there hearing things from the coach directly, and I'm going to try and be the first one to tweet it out and tell you what we know, what we don't know. We have our projected lineup presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall that we put out for every single game, and I get that out as soon as I feel like I have a good idea what it's going to be. I had to kind of wait on that tonight because we just didn't know a whole lot going into the game. But that's kind of my answer to that question.
Yeah, I was going to say it can be tough, especially if there's, like, depending on the situation, sometimes you do have to wait for warm-ups to see what those line rushes are. And then it's like the mad rush to get the graphic out and all that kind of stuff from everybody. So I understand the issues that come from that, Sean, and everything, especially with like the Kraken being a West Coast team. So the games are starting at 7. It's entirely possible that, that messes with your lineup because you have people playing on the East Coast or Central Time. I very much understand.
But I will say, if you have a question about one of your fantasy players who's a Kraken or whatever, just shoot it my way on Twitter, and I will give you the most up to date that I know, which is probably going to be the most up to date info that anybody outside the team has.
Right. And if you ever have a question about what you should do fantasy wise, text it, send it over my way.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Right. And then I'll tell you something, and then you're going to do the exact opposite of what I told you to do. That's your best bet right there. Now, RJ,
we got you covered.
Yes. Now, RJ, there's lots of talk in chat here. I talked about it a little bit before you came on about the wave, because we saw that going on and Forsland mentioned it. What is your opinion about the wave at a hockey game?
I am anti-wave. No, do not do it. It distracts from the view of everything. Do not do it if puck is even close to in play. If it's at intermission, if you really want to, maybe. I don't know. I still don't really like it. But no, I'm anti-wave. And if you notice, Columbus got some of their best chances of the game right after that wave happened. I think the hockey gods, had spoken there a little bit, just as a warning. They'll give you a warning first. Not necessarily going to have them come back in the game, but no, I am against the wave. And let me tell you, up in the press bridge, most people were on that side as well.
Would your opinion change if I told you that Seattle invented doing the wave?
No.
All right. Good. Very good. No, be a man of principle. I'm fine with that. I'm totally good with that. I said, do I think it's the greatest? No, I don't think it's good at inside arenas. It's too small. It's just kind of awkward looking. However, I'm always in favor of anything that's going to get people more involved in the game, get them cheering, get them excited, draw the kids in, new fans, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of took the political approach and tried to split the different.
All right.
But it's been pretty split. I will tell you that. Tyler, now 6-0-1 in person at games this year, way different than last year. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Congrats on that, Tyler. Definitely enjoy that. Let's see here. So we had actually, when we were talking about all that, RJ, Jules actually came in with the super chat talking about working at crypto and said people do the waves at Kings games sometimes and concerts, but never at the NBA games. Seeing another comment here. Yeah, they do the wave before the concert started, probably to get hyped, but for concerts, it's a horseshoe, so it looks weird with a large gap. That's what I was thinking. How do you do a wave?
Right.
Like it just stops and
I don't have an opinion on that for a concert, I guess. Maybe that's okay. But let me tell you, it's because in LA, they care about the basketball games. They don't care about the hockey games.
They care about whatever team is winning. That's the bottom line.
That's the answer.
that's the answer. You will see the entire city in Dodger blue if the Dodgers are winning. They'll be in gold for the Lakers if the Lakers are winning. They will all be wearing Kings stuff magically if the Kings are the team that's winning. It's just how LA rolls. We only celebrate the winners at any point in time in which they're only winning. Donnie, in the end of the second period, it really looked like the Kraken slowed things down in the offensive zone, got some nice chances and tried some cross-ice passes. It was nice. They did. They looked like they were trying to sophisticate things up there.
Right, and I think they felt like they could against the Blue Jackets, who were just kind of running around, puck watching, and you can have a lot of fun with that stuff too. When it's going well for you. I think they remembered the Canucks game a little too well. Of like, oh yeah, look, we can just toy with these guys, but just a little more killer instinct would be better.
Yeah. Lindsay, if the Blue Jackets win the Bedard sweepstakes, they might actually achieve the impossible and make Ohio interesting. Now, I'm not going to touch this, RJ, because I haven't been talking about certain things from Ohio for superstition's sake.
Yeah, and I won't make you. They may have some football teams there. One of them might be doing pretty well, but I know you wouldn't want to talk about that. You wouldn't know anything about that.
No, not at all. Yeah, God, it's been killing me. I'm not watching these games, but it's working. Oh, it's terrible. But there's interesting stuff going on right now in Ohio. Well, I guess now Missouri. But
yep.
Gabe, do you expect anything at the deadline? I kind of don't want to mess with the mojo since we're such a 4-line team. Yeah, probably not too much. We're gearing up for our big trade deadline stuff as far as like the deep dive and stuff, Gabe, but we're kind of with you on the don't rock the boat situation. Yep. Let's see. Roses are red. Gru was awesome. Like the stream, or you're a possum from Tammy there. I like that one. Sarah, what do y'all think about that no goal call on that Donato shot? Did you get good replays in arena there for that one, RJ?
Let me think about that one. I mean, yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
Okay, yeah, all right. I didn't know if you were doing a bit. Sorry.
No, I wasn't doing a bit.
So the bottom line is, for newer fans or anybody who doesn't know, the puck has to completely cross the line in order.
Oh, that's the one they were talking about. Got it.
The Donato one.
It took me a second because they had a disallowed goal last game, and I was like, wait a sec, Wenberg, what's going on?
I know, they all bleed together. So the puck has to completely cross the line. It's not like, say, football, where, at the goal line, as long as the ball guy kind of breaks the plane of the line, it counts. In hockey, the puck has to completely cross the line, and you have to have, like, in this case, evidence that because it was called a no goal, you'd have to have definitive video evidence that it crossed the line, and it just didn't cross the line. It came close. It was about 2/3, 3/4 crossed the line, but it wasn't completely crossing the line. You didn't have white between it. So unfortunately, it was the right call. And I will say, RJ, that was the only time I questioned Elvis tonight at all. Was I have no idea why he picked up his leg there. Like, it should just be sealed to that post, and that's it.
Well, usually the forward there is going to try and lift it over the pad, and so you kind of want to lift your leg to try and get to it. If you look, that's what most goalies will do. It just happened to work out. The puck was going along the ground, but he got some help from his defenseman, and much deserved help. I mean, come on, Elvis had a great game. I feel the need to say that again.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely did. But it's a good question, Sarah. Rebecca, Twitter saying Maddie was watching part of tonight's game in the press box with Nick Blankenberg, so he didn't totally miss his bobblehead night. Can you comment on that?
I did not see Maddie, but actually I was on the opposite end of the press bridge that I usually am this time, kind of away from the scratches and everything. So unfortunately, actually tonight of all nights, I didn't have the best angle of it, but I believe that.
Yeah, I could see something like that happening. And then CR Bud, sorry, peeps, stepped away for a sec. What did RJ say about injuries? Well, I guess the only update really from on anything was that Schultz was added to IR, right?
Yeah, so that's an update, and no timeline on him. We asked Axel, is there a timeline for him? He said no.
Yeah, I love this from Sergeant Pickles. I straight up forgot Line and Gaudreau played for them. Oh no, did we lose RJ? It was too much, Sergeant Pickles. It was too much. The idea of Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, it was too much. We lost RJ. You back?
Oh, here we go.
Now we're all right. We're back. Just talking about Laine and Gaudreau. Gaudreau, a little bit of an injury scare very early on in that game, taking that kind of puck awkwardly up there. I liked at the end of the game, RJ, when they saved an empty net together. They both combined to save an empty net goal. And I was like, that's a lot of money to save that goal there.
I know that's a lot of your cap going to preventing that goal. But I thought that was pretty funny too. I like that play.
Yeah. Joey asking what happened to Matty Beniers. He was interfered with. He took a big hit from Tyler Myers back in the Vancouver game. And he went down kind of head first into the ice. His head, made contact with the ice pretty hard there, and he wasn't able to finish that game, and he's been out ever since. So don't have like official word on what it is and designations and all that kind of stuff, but that's the situation. We're all kind of assuming it's a concussion, so take that for what you will. It is an assumption. Let's see. Lindsay definitely noticed more mental lapses from the Kraken with like 2 minutes or less left in a period, mentally already in the locker room, leading to some late period goals last game and this one. That reminds me of last year, RJ, not gonna lie.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's rough. I think I was speculating earlier on that and where the Kraken are at, and maybe like some of the guys like Andre Burakovsky, they've just played a ton of hockey. And it as much as we talk about the physical toll it takes, it does take a mental toll too. And so I think this week off is going to be nice to let them reset.
For sure. And players have talked about this even earlier in the season, the importance of just even taking a day or two, if you can, just get your mind completely off the game and just focus on something else. I think it's going to do a lot of good for these guys.
Yeah. Striatic Geeky looked legitimately tired during his fish yeet. He's not used to playing that much. He was full effort, full speed during the actual game, which is all that matters, though. Absolutely. I didn't see it. Can you comment?
Yes, he did look kind of tired for his fish sheet. I'm like, oh man, is he even gonna get this thing over the glass? Like we said, it's good for these guys to get some rest, and I think they are going to do that. We heard from, let's see, Geeky and Tolvanen after the game. I know Geeky's going to Hawaii and Tolvanen's going to Mexico, so they are taking advantage of these trips.
Good. Glad to hear it. Lindsay accidentally tuned into the Blue Jackets stream at first and caught one of their announcers complaining about the $70 parking outside CPA. First, that's a very Ohio complaint. Second, take the train, it's free.
Oh man.
I was gonna say, like, it's definitely one of those things after having just been up there, coming from a place like LA where public transit virtually doesn't exist. It's incredible what Seattle has as far as options for public transit up there. Like it's like it was just blowing my mind.
Yeah, that's true. If you assume you're doing the parking, then it's like, oh man, this is crazy. But if you're parking there, you're doing it wrong.
Yes. CR Bud, the wave at an indoor arena is more like low tide. I like that. That is good. Let's see. Nathan, I didn't realize that you can be penalized for not sending out the announced starting 6. Saw that on Weird NHL.
Yep, you can, or having an error in that starting lineup as well.
I was gonna say, do they ever? I wonder though if they ever cut teams breaks if it's like an emergency type situation, or an injury type thing. I wonder.
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah.
Let's see. Love Jules Insider Info as a regular segment on post games for Rebecca there. Absolutely. It's fantastic having Jules in here. 100% agree. Nathan, and nobody likes the Clippers. They did that 1 year. they did that 1 year. And Jules saying, hey, the Clippers are the nicest players you can ever talk to. They always tell us good morning, good night, give fist bumps or full conversation. So there you go. There we go. All right, Pablo, good night. We'll be wrapping up here things in a second. But Walt, I had no clue that Dylan was a Bengals fan.
Oh yeah,
yes,
he sure is.
I was gonna say you're around this time last year. It was all over everything. Yes.
Oh yeah.
And Rebecca commenting, I believe that the Bengals and Penn's backstory is that a young Dylan committed to favorite teams based on logo. Yes, uniforms and logo is how I determined my favorite teams. Nothing to do with where I lived. That's what it was about, and that is why I'm a Bengals fan. Lot of terrible years of being a Bengals fan.
I know.
To enjoy this brief moment in the sun. Daniel asking if Maddie was at morning skate.
Okay, so I was not there early enough to see him. I hear this from Liv, who's photographer for Circling Seattle Sports. You know, our buddy Charles even wasn't there that early, and he's there early for everything. But she said she saw him on the ice in full pads along with Schultz and Schwartz before the optional morning skate. So don't have, the firsthand knowledge of that, but I do hear that from her. She's reliable. I believe her if she says they were on the ice.
Yeah, I would trust that as well. Absurdly saying, speaking of weird goalie stuff, why did they review what happened when Gru's water bottle got knocked off? Did they think the puck had gone through the net? Now, RJ, I haven't seen it too much lately or with the Kraken, but one of the coolest things back in the day, RJ, that was the highlight goals where you score a goal and the puck going, you roof the puck and it knocks the water bottle up and out of its little holder out of the back. And it was just like, I had never seen what we saw tonight, which was a puck just kind of skim right along the top and then ping the water bottle like that.
Yeah, it just knocked the cap off that water bottle. And when they went to a goal review, I was pretty sure it didn't go in. But when they're like, we're reviewing to see if this went in, and I'm like, okay, if it did that, it would have had to go through the net and hit the water bottle off. And if that had happened, I'm like, that's an all-timer. That's an all-time great goal. So I was like, I wouldn't even necessarily mind a ton if that went in, just to have been there to see it. But thankfully, it didn't go in the net.
Yep, and it was one of those too where it's like you saw the linesman, I believe, talking with him afterwards with Gru, just like, I've never seen that before. Like everybody was just
I think there were some smiles there on that. By the way, sorry if I can't hear you. Chop Suey, the song has been started playing quite loudly in the arena, so if I have trouble hearing you, that's what's going on.
Is there a System of a Down concert coming on or up there?
Maybe, I don't know. That's it. But yeah, I do not see it. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. We got a super chat here from Duthin. Great first half of the season. Thanks for all your coverage. Looking forward to seeing what we can do after the All-Star game. Absolutely, Duthin. Thank you for all the support you've given. Thanks to everybody who submitted a super chat tonight. Really, really appreciate it. They're playing RJ out all of the Oscars. Yes, we will take the hint, I guess.
Yes.
And we'll
Interesting
go
song
ahead
choice to
and
play me out.
and we'll end with Kitty B Kraken asking, is Queen Anne Beer Hall a good place to watch the All-Star events?
Oh, it sure is. You know they're going to have the All-Star game on there. They always have the hockey on, and we're going to be able to cheer on whichever Kraken All-Star it is. Not sure at this point, but you know it's going to be a great place for that.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine it wouldn't be a fantastic time. I got to think. I mean, everything they do there is so much fun. It's a fantastic place for any of those sporting events, any of them.
See if they can get the goal horn, the goal light going if whoever the Kraken All-Star is scores a goal.
That would be cool. I think that could happen. I
Yeah.
think that could happen. Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in with us tonight for Emerald City Hockey's post-game live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Just give them one more. Yeah, Kraken entering this break positive. I mean, this was a fantastic win. And on a high note, we'll see what ends up happening with the All-Star game for the Kraken. Obviously, fingers crossed for Maddie and all that stuff. And then, yeah, as RJ said earlier, I talked about the deep dive coming out Monday. As RJ said earlier, any updates over that period of time you want to know about the Kraken, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. It's at Emerald City HKY over on Twitter. That's probably your best place for like the information stuff. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoys this little break. I know it's going to be rough without Kraken hockey, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on the other side of it. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.